All right, welcome back. We have a fancy new setup. We got a new microphone and a new camera, and I'm on my desktop system now. And I got this whole thing set up like a week ago, like right after the previous video, but I haven't recorded since then. So I've just been busy, and I've done a few things, which I'll show in just a minute. But what I thought we would do tonight is work on a little interactive mode for C-Ray. So I'll talk more about that in just a second. Things that I did while I was away. I basically made a new branch to rework the camera API. So it's much simpler now than it was before. Previously, there were like a bunch of functions with similar names that it wasn't clear when you call it. Now there's like a new camera, get the ray, and destroy the camera. There's still a little bit of stuff to do here to fix, and we might do that today here. But the main focus for tonight would be to kind of get like an interactive mode going. So what I mean by that is if we invoke C-Ray right now, which I did right before I started the recording, it's a very kind of linear thing. Like you invoke the thing, it loads up all the assets, it renders the image, and then exits. Saves the image and then exits. And that's it. That's the only way to use it at the moment. What I would really like to do is have a mode where I could start it up, maybe give it like a just like a parameter here. So if we do like, you can do these like delay by, let's do like 100 by 100, and there's actually a bug here. It goes off into the corner, but anyway, a command line option to basically start a real time, not really real time, but like a interactive kind of render mode. And then hopefully with the STL2 window, we'll be able to have like arrow keys to move the camera and then set the camera position, save out the JSON eventually. Right now, what I just want to do is have it load the scene, and it'll start rendering samples progressively, and then you can move the camera and stuff like that. So we'll see if we can do it right now. I hope for the best, but yeah, let's just get to it. So the first thing we gotta do is fix this camera thing. The idea was that I just pass in the width and height. It does some stuff. It updates the forward, right, and up vectors for the camera. Does this build actually? Yeah, there's still some. Yeah, there's some warnings, but whatever. But there's still things that could be pre-computed here. So this is the actual get camera right function. There you go. It fits. I don't know why it's like does that. That's just Xcode messing up. Yeah, except this basically, if you give it the camera, XY pixel, and a sampler, it'll give you the ray that the camera would give for that pixel. Now, if we look at the aspect ratio, this could be computed when we set up the camera. So we'll actually do that. And we'll store it. Is it here? It's not here, so let's put that in here. And do like this. And what was that? Yeah. Width divided by height. There you go. So that doesn't need to be done. I threw this together right before I start the recording here. Sensor width, which is used to, compute the actual ray that we are gonna shoot. This could be computed beforehand, which I think we will do. Sensor width and height. There's like a chord type. Is there like a chord type? There's a chord type. We can do that. Struct chord sensor size. Does that complain? Yeah, it does complain, but that's not this thing. Cam. There you go. That's happy. And then cam sensor size dot x, so that's the width, would be 2.f times 10f of 2 radians of the field of view, which we'll have to check that it's set before this actually, and over 2. Yeah, and then the sensor height, we can just copy this here actually. Oops, this is not the keyboard I'm used to. Sensor size dot y. So a little bit of refactoring here before we start. What was it? Width? Wasn't it width? Yeah. There we go. Aspect ratio is computed here. So we need to set the field of view here, and that is actually passed in. So we have to. That's degrees, isn't it? Not. Yeah, that's passed in. So let's just do like. We have to rework the parsing a little bit. What else do we want? Let's see. So this is actually where we parse the camera from the config file. Let me show you that. So we'll just take this one. Here's our camera object, and then we just give it the FOV, which is the field of view in angle. So 30 degrees is pretty tight. 80 degrees is pretty normal. 90 degrees would be, like 90 degrees. And so on. Focal distance as well. Yeah, so all of these are set here. I don't really like the fact that they're all like set here. I think we'll grab the values here and just pass them all into a new camera thing. So focal distance, f-stops. What about transforms? Yeah, I guess we can pass that in as well. I mean, that's set basically. So we just get the FOV here. This is like passed in from parse JSON. So we create the new camera here, and then we don't know the FOV at this point, which means that that is not going to work. But yeah, it's set at that point, so we don't have to do this. It's a bit confusing that we only initialize these 2 values here. It would be nicer if we did that all in there. Let's see here. FOV. That is set. Actually, no, it is not set at this point. We need to know this. So we have to rework the parsing a little bit. So let's get rid of this. Let's just pass it all in. That's the clearest thing. So float FOV. It's gonna be float f stops. It's gonna be a. Is that a transform? Or is it just a matrix? Oops. Sorry, there's my keyboard. Yeah, it's a transform. So everything is passed into the initializer, where we can then start computing all this stuff. I think that makes the most sense. So we'll go ahead and replace this, and then go look at the parser. So parse camera. And what we really want to look at is how we pass this in. So let's get that again. Oops. Is that control 1? No, hold on. That doesn't always work for some reason. Yeah, let's do this. Oops. Parse this, pass this address in here. Do that. That'll work. It won't like this, but it's fine. And then we will do it like this. So camera. Then we'll just capture all these values here. Aperture. Wait, aperture. Oh, it's just the f-stops value. Okay. We'll do f-stops. These should be initialized, right? They're initialized either way, but we'll do that. Just, yeah. And then that will be uninitialized for now. So we'll just get rid of these. FOE. There's just a bunch of default stuff. You can omit a lot of this stuff in the config file. And yeah, there's like a default thing here. Just some sensible defaults that made sense at the time. I should check those actually. Focal, oh, derp. Let's do like cam f-stops. It's a bit naming, man. Naming. Okay, there we go. And then cam focal distance. Cam f-stop. Oops, cam f-stops. Kind of like that. And then cam composite. If otherwise it's not gonna, it's gonna return an error here, which I don't know if that, if we don't have the transforms at all, then we can do like cam composite s new transform. This is like just an identity matrix here, so it doesn't do anything. Then we can start passing this thing in. Actually, derp the let me rename this. This is derpy. Oops. This needs the width and height from the thing, which is not in line with the rest of these, but we need it from the render preferences. So camera doesn't know the resolution here, it's set in the render. So hopefully this comes, yeah, it comes after the camera, comes after renderer, hopefully. Parse prefs, yeah, prefs, okay. So we will do like, maybe there's a better way to do this, but how is it stored in prefs? Unsigned. There's like a int core type, but whatever. And then we'll do like, whoops, this actually also needs to be unsigned. Unsigned. Get this set up right. There we go. It's hopefully starting to shape up here. Whoops, I did not mean to do that. Cam FOV stops and composite. And then here we can start assigning all this crap. Cam, yeah, width, height, FOV is FOV, cam F stops. Hopefully that'll copy all right. Build fail, that's fine. We just gotta go to the root of the problem. Down here. Inch width are press image height. That's the order, right? Width and height, yeah. Cool. I like this new microphone. It's I don't know if it's supposed to be this close to my mouth, but I got this fancy arm so I can actually push it out of the way. That's pretty cool. It's way better than what I actually need, but I like it. Sensor width. Yeah. Sensor size.x. That's more like it. Same thing for this one, except it's the height. What else? Is there anything computed here that we don't already have? Cam aperture. This could be computed. So this is a hack. I wasn't sure how this is supposed to be done. We compute the sensor width here from the field of view, but that ends up being like in our coordinate space, it's gonna be like a 1/2 meter wide sensor, which is not what we want. And then that influences the focal length here, which ends up being too large, and then the aperture ends up being again like, you know, this big, which is not what we want. So I kind of just force it to be about a 35 millimeter sensor, which seems to work. So yeah, we want to move this as well to setting up the camera. So we want to minimize what's in here because this is in, you know, the hot loop. It's not that hot for setting up the ray, but oops. What if we just paste this here? Sensor width, focal length is sensor width, yeah. 2 radians, FOV. And then if the f-stops are not 0, we set the aperture as well. Yeah, we gotta check the f-stops because it divides by 0 otherwise. Okay, cool. This should work maybe. Let's see. Let's do like rebuild and do that. Just do that. See if that works. Whoa. Oh, yeah, that. No, wait. Okay. Nothing. Now that's interesting. What's going on here? Rotate Z. Okay, nothing going on there. It worked before I started the render, so there's obviously something screwy going on here. Let's look at what kind of ray it creates. Is this the right scene? It is. Cool. So our new ray ends up being, what does it end up being? New ray. Start at that point, that makes sense. And the direction 0, 0. That should be about 1. Okay. What did we change that would mess that up? Right here. So right. Sensor size. By the width. Let's go look at this one. Make sure all the values look right. Cam, so FOV is 30. Focal length. Yeah. Focal distance. Focal distance. That's computed here, isn't it not? We could compute that beforehand as well. Oh. Focal distance ends up being 0. Where's that set? Where was it set before? Yeah, focal distance. Now I gotta cheat. What happened here? New camera. Focal distance. Oh, it's actually, it's this, isn't it? Focal. Focal distance. No. What? Whoa, you can go to the right in a diff. I didn't know that. I never pressed right. So, camera array, we just remove the aspect ratio, sensor width and height. Yes. Now, I gotta cheat even more. I gotta go look what the code looked like before instead of a diff. Hold on. Data types camera. It worked a few minutes ago. I'm doing something dumb here. So here it was before we started. And the focal distance there's only one match. What happened here? Focal distance. Where was it computed before? What? Was that always just 0? No, it can't be. That can't work if it's not a focal distance. Am I just not seeing it here? What? I think I'm blind because there's no way that can end up being 0. What? Like normalize that. Sensor width. Focal length. Is that in the aperture? FT. Dude, let's go check that out. Let's do like what? We gotta check this out. Am I really not seeing this? Where else could it be? Oh, it's set in the config file. Of course. Hold on. What? I forgot that. Focal distance here. So why does it end up being 0? It comes from the config file, which is here. It's not even passed in. What? Dude. Focal distance. Parse camera. I totally forgot that. Focal distance. Cam focal distance is set and never passed in. So it's before aperture. So before f-stops. Focal distance, wait. Focal distance. This is what happens when you code too fast. At least to me. I guess it takes practice. And here. Oops. There we go. No wonder it wasn't being computed. It came from a completely different file. So let's try that again. Hopefully it works. Little detour there, but that's what happens when you program. You mess stuff up. There we go. Okay, we're back. So that makes a bit more sense, I think. You create a new camera with all the parameters. They're pre-computed instead of on the fly, as much as you can anyway. And then this all basically depends on your, you know, the actual rendering logic, like getting this jitter, X and jitter, Y is basically, it kind of slightly varies where it's going. When it targets like a given pixel, it goes, you know, in a slightly different direction. So when you do multiple samples that way, you get smooth edges instead of jagged ones. Focal distance, I'm just looking if any of these can be pre-computed. Focus point, nah. Lens point, nah. Add that. Get the direction and then to world space. Okay, that's good. Let's commit that real quick. Then hopefully we can move on to that's a weird thing. We're doing a bit of yak shaving. Oh, yeah, because I added this a while ago. That's a bit annoying. Oops, that's my bad. There we go. Commuted. Okay. Then we can actually move on to the thing we went to do today, which is the interactive mode. And I guess I kind of pushed it back a bit with a bit of simple programming to get myself warmed up. Now is the hard part. So we've been recording for what, 26 minutes? It's pretty late. We'll see if we can get it done. At least we committed, so there's no, like, you know, we can revert. Make sure we have a thing. Let's make a branch. Can you even see this shit? Yeah, you can. Let me move this a bit so you can see the whole thing. Let's see. Interactive mode. That way we can always kill the branch and come back. Okay, where should we so let me first show you how it works right now. So when we run this, I guess it's better to show the code. Let me run this. So as you can see from the log, it starts up, loads up the JSON, parses all the assets, and then it checks the overrides. So if we have these command line options, which you can get like -h, you override the thread count, sample count, image dimensions, tile dimensions, and stuff like that. Then it computes the bounding volume hierarchies, which is like the acceleration structure we use to find intersections between objects and rays. Those make it, if you don't have a BVH or a similar structure, your object ray intersection check is gonna be like an exponential time complexity, basically. And it works. As I found out in the beginning, it worked for a while and then it didn't. So once I started going up in my polygon count, it rapidly degrades in performance. So BVH helps make that a lot faster. And this was not written by me. The BVH implementation is by this guy here. Really cool of him to help out. We set those up, set another BVH. There's 2 levels, and then we, finish the scene construction. That takes about a second, and that's work that I would like to avoid repeating. So if you look at the scripts, we have a couple animation scripts, which are just basic Python scripts that just invoke the binary. So we just invoke the binary, pipe the JSON from a file to here, modify it, pipe it in through we'll just pipe it in basically through standard in, and then run that, stop, restart the binary every time it loads up the assets. I don't want to do this. It's really annoying. So we should first, let's warm up a bit more. Let's add a flag. This is a very kind of ad hoc, ad hoc kind of args parser, but we'll just do this. Good old else if. Stern comp argvi interactive what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13. 13 bytes. Set tag. This is just whoa. This is just a little hash table, a global hash table here. Interactive, and a set tag is just a boolean. It just sets it to true. It basically just sets the bucket to used, and that's how you know it's set. So anywhere in the code we can check this feature flag. You know, is set key, and if it's set, we know it. So let's go see how the thing is set up. So we get the options. So basically we'll want to load up all the assets, and then right now I think what's going to be enough is that we just make a different renderer that instead of doing like it does right now, let me make like a 250 samples. Each thread grabs one of these tiles and renders it through, renders all the samples for that tile, and then grabs the next one. What we want it to do is basically just loop through all the tiles, do one sample, and then start over, loop through all the tiles, you know, like that. So what's the best way to do that? I guess, how long does it take if we just set this to one sample? That's kind of the idea. So this is a really, really slow computer. With STL enable, it took 568 milliseconds. That's actually not really true. If we do like recompile it without the STL window, the preview that you see, we want this to be true. It's much faster. And that's some overhead that I think could be shaved down a bit. Basically, the reason why it slows down that much, you can see it takes... This is a really slow computer because this takes like a few milliseconds on my laptop. Like, not a few milliseconds, like 90 milliseconds on my laptop. So there's not much overhead on this system, but on my laptop, it's way faster without the STL2. Okay. I think there's actually a script to re-enable STL2. So if we go into renderer, this is the actual thread that you know, sets up the ray, does all the basically color averaging and stuff, and handles the tiles. So I think there's a function in here called next tile. So yeah, this is very much kind of built with you know, one pass in mind. So what we could do is, can we reuse this? Because the first instinct is to just duplicate this, but so we make sure the finished tile count. Okay. I think we could reuse this. We could just set the finished tile count to 0. Right. Render tiles, that one is rendering is true. I think that's set to false. I don't even know if that's used. Well, yeah, there's also a state thing that checks that it's rendering. State is rendering. State is rendering. Yeah, then we set that to false. I don't think that's actually used anywhere. Right, so I think we could reuse that. We can just set, once we do a pass of one sample, we just set the finished tile count back to 0. And then increment like a pass count. Right? So let's add a pass counter, maybe. So finished tile count. Where's that? There it is. And pass count interactive mode. Basically what we're trying to do is like a progressive rendering mode. So you start the render, you can set like a max, and it'll keep rendering samples until it reaches that max. So let's make one of these. Render thread interactive. No args here. Actually, we do want args here. Good old void star. This is going to be, for the most part, it's going to be the same. And this whole render thread thing is a bit messy. It could use a lot of cleanup, but we're not going to worry about that just now. We just cannot copy the... Actually, we'll copy the entire contents and just modify that. Right? This is going to be interactive render thread that progressively renders samples up to a limit. Also, we need to add like a config flag to the actual JSON, so you can set that there as well. But right now, we're just going to use the existing config and have that flag. I'll be right back. All right, so up to a limit. We're going to have that limit as well. It's got to be in prefs, right? Thread count from system, sample count. We can reuse the sample count. Yeah. So we set up the thread state. Get the renderer out there. Get the actual buffer from there. This is basically how we communicate with the thread. We just have the user data, and then we have the struct. This is basically used to communicate between the main thread and the render threads. So let's try and modify this. So init sampler, sample count. Okay, so you get the next tile, or the first tile that this thread will render. Current tile num. Set up the timer. So we will modify this first of all. So instead of running until we get to a negative tile num, we'll render until is there no like current sample value? We can iterate them here. So passes is 0. Passes is less than our prefs dot sample count. This boolean can be set to false in the main thread. So if you hit like X in the STL window or Control C, you can abort the render. Total microsecond. We won't worry too much about the metrics right now. So tile completed sample is this. While loop will go away. Right? We'll grab that. What happens after it? 4. There we go. This actually renders the tile. Then after that, samples plus plus. Oh, we do have a samples thing. Okay. We'll replace that where passes right here. Passes. Okay. This while loop retains. Yeah, I guess we'll just get rid of that while loop there. Then we get the plus plus. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get that. state. Total samples. Yeah, a bunch of metric stuff. Okay. We'll get rid of this. Pass this in here. It's a bit of an annoying function to work on because it's so long. That's why I kind of want to rework this a bit. A lot of this metric stuff is kind of annoying to have here. A lot of counters to deal with. Then is rendering is false. Render complete is. We don't want to set the render complete flag. Actually, we don't care about the render complete flag, I don't think. Current tile num, completed samples. Next tile, yes. Then thread state current tile num is tile num. Then we go back here. Right. Cool. And then, so in here, once we've done, do we actually want, I think we want to wrap this into a while function, not a while function, a while loop. So once this loop is done, no, passes plus plus, and then we want to set the thing to 0. So we render that tile. Get the next tile. Yeah, we do, I think. And then our state dot what was it? Next tile. Finish tile count. Right? Oh, you know, this is actually kind of not good. Our state finish tile count, we can't modify it from here. We got to do it in the next tile. Yeah, finish tile count. Else, maybe this will do it. This will now keep doing this forever, but that's fine for now. We just want to get it working first. Right, maybe that'll work. Maybe. I'll give it like a 15% chance of working. I think I've tried this before at some point. A while ago. Hold on, let me close some of these terminals. Am I actually recording? Yes, I am. Yeah, get rid of that. Let's try and run it. So, actually we need to hook this up, right? So, render frame. And here. The thread function is set up over here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Renderer. Thread func. There we go. Is set. We need to get the args thing in here. Tails args, I think. Yeah. Is set. Interact. There we go. I think that's good. What happened there? Oops. Undeclared identifier. We need to, because it's C, and it's C99. We need to stick this up in here for the dumb compiler to find it. Okay, I think that's good. Is this a new warning? No, it's not. So if the thing is set, which I gotta check if it's actually interactive. then we can actually, let's print a thing here. Is set interactive. And if it is set, then we're gonna do like iteratively. Otherwise, we're just gonna do that. Okay, maybe that'll work. Let's see. Moment of truth. Not really. I don't think it's gonna work. So first of all, let's make sure that the old one works. I'll do like 10 samples. There we go. That does the thing. I'm gonna guess that it's gonna crash. That's my guess. Whoa. Okay, so we messed it up. Maybe that's actually a good thing. We definitely did not set the interactive thing, did we not? Yeah. Why does it do that? Hold on. So thread func is if this is set, then we set it to interactive, otherwise we set to render thread. Hum. This could be interactive. Is not set. So let's do oops, no, not that way. Let's just do 0th thread. Come on. Thread ID, thread func is render thread. How did that happen? I don't think we even touched the. I bet this is something dumb again. Interactive. Set that guy up. Make this a bit wider. Make sure you still can see this. Put this down here. So we set up the interactive thing. If it's true this, otherwise that. That makes sense to me. Something dumb there. How did we fuck that up? Oh, my page up and page down buttons don't work. That sucks. There's some white space issues. Render thread. Pass count. Yeah, we literally did not touch that. So how did we? Oh. We messed up the get next tile function. Right, we modified this guy. So for now, we'll do the check here. We don't want to do this. We also want the args here. Args is set interactive. Yeah, there we go. Now it should work again. Hopefully. Little details like that that I just forgot that I modified. Some shared code. There we go. Okay, that works. Now, let's see if the interactive mode works. So you should be able to just do interactive, and it's gonna crash. Holy shit. Okay, that's not nothing. It kind of got too excited there. It didn't even render the whole image there, but it's something. It didn't crash. That's good. Okay, now we gotta find out why it didn't do the thing. Path tracing iteratively. That's good. Why it do that? It's not even the same between things, right? It changed. Okay, so that's okay. Let's go look at the code. We actually have API functions for these that are just not done yet. Interactive Did I get a notification? I did not. Let's close this. Interactive. Why would it go like that? So once we're done here, we destroy the sampler, we return. Okay. So the case is passes is okay. Passes plus plus somewhere, yeah. Okay. Let me print here. This is gonna race, of course, but let me just print here how many passes each one did. No, we don't want debug normals here. This is what I don't like about Xcode's autocomplete debug. This is quite obviously enum log type that goes here, but the first thing it suggests is a struct color, which is just, there's no way you would ever want that there. I don't understand the logic there. Thread, did, passes. It's gonna erase, I know. Thread num, passes. Is that right? Yeah, let's do that. Oh, we gotta do -v as well to get the debug stuff. Okay, thread 1 did 10 passes each. That's interesting. Is that consistent? Oh, right. I guess the sample count is 10. Okay, so it just doesn't go through the whole list. I think what happens is one of the... We need to have a more robust way of coming up with, have we done all the tiles? See, because each thread calls this, and there's a mutex here. This logic is not sufficient. So finish tile count. As long as it's that, we get the next tile, we get the next tile until... But how would it happen this early, though? We haven't even rendered like a third of them. It's kind of weird. And also, it should not stop. It should continue. Let me do 100 passes. See if that changes anything. Oh, look at that. That actually did something more. Didn't do multiple passes, but it did something more. Let's look at that again. Okay, so the obviously the frame thing is not happy about that is rendering as false. We could honestly just disable the frames for the interactive mode. But I think for now we might just do like our own next tile thing. So we won't modify this one at all, and just make a new one. Code duplication, I generally do this just temporarily. Once I've worked out how I want this interactive variant to work, once I've worked that out, then I can merge them back. Tile is -1. Lock the mutex. Tile count is state tile count. Finish tile count. Finish tile count. Finish tile count. It's only set there. We don't want... Yeah, this here is it's iterated every time. That's not good. This needs to be iterated where? Where would we iterate that? I think we need another value here. Yeah, but where would we iterate that? I think I know how to do this. Let's go here. Pass count. Yeah. We can finish passes. Does that upset anything? Yeah, we forgot to use that. So hold on. And then you do this. This is my deep concentration phase. So finish passes. Yes. And then after this, we do finished passes. And we set the state dot finished dot count back to 0. I think that makes sense, maybe. See if that works. Okay, it did 1. 100 passes, apparently. I don't think that's true, but... Oh. We want to do this only once we run out of tiles. Like that. If you're wondering why I run this in the terminal instead of just from Xcode, okay, that didn't change much. It's because Xcode's thing here doesn't have color highlighting, and I really like terminal colors. That's something that they could easily fix. I think it's because this is from LLDB's output, and LLDB just doesn't output color, but I think I might have submitted feedback from that actually to the LLDB project. Like, hey guys, preserve color output please. That would be awesome. I haven't checked if that's changed, but I just like running in the terminal. In the terminal, I usually have the release build set up so it's a bit faster, but once I find like a bug, once I find a bug that I think is like memory related, then I just disable optimizations. Or usually here I have the debug mode anyway, so I can just run the debugger here. But for testing, I can just run it quickly here. That's pretty fast. Okay, so I think it did 100 passes, which is not correct because we forgot to change the render thread. So passes plus plus. There we go, and then passes plus plus. We don't care about that. Yeah, there we go, and then well, this is gonna be what we expect, but see if that helps. So total usec. I don't really care about the metrics right now. I just want to get it working first, then figure that stuff out. Okay. Oh, floating point exception. Okay, we divided by 0. That's fair. We're gonna just yoink that. Redo that. Cool. Okay. know what? This guy. Completed samples. We knit this with a pass, and then this is gonna be our state finished passes. Otherwise, it always returns the same color. That's how we seed the sampler, basically. Okay, that didn't change at all. I'm not sure that's good. Okay, it's still doing something. Looks like we're still getting the same value. 0 passes, huh? Okay, so there might be like an infinite loop. It never gets to the next sample here. Next tile. Let's go. Oh, we're using the old one. Let's go. Derp. Dumb little mistakes. That happens. At least I find them fairly quickly. Okay, hopefully this will work. Oh, look at that. It's not... looks like it's overwriting the thing. It's not doing the average correctly, but it's doing kind of what I want. It's just failing to average correctly. That's actually a really interesting kind of diagnostic thing. It just shows all the raw samples that we get. And these are supposed to be averaged together, but it doesn't do that for some reason. That's actually really fascinating. I keep looking at it for a few more seconds here, because... Okay, if I do fix this bug, I do also want to check this. This might be a mode here for debugging. But why does it not average correctly? Interactive... No. Render... Oh. Render thread interactive. New sampler. Then we're supposed to do path trace, rprefs bounces, and then the sampler. Why does it not average? Render buffer. That's not a thing that I would have thought. Oh, complete the passes. Yeah. State finished passes. Same thing for that guy. Okay. Starts from 0. I think we just do that. Okay, maybe that'll work. Okay, that is not correct. Float tile completed samples. Output tile completed samples starts out its life as... Oh. Wait. Can't we just use that though? The tile completed samples. I would think that would still work though. No, it would not. That's still not right though, is it? Yeah. Look, it doesn't even go through all these for some reason. I think that just might be it, the main thread being a bit slow. So we get the color coefficient there. Stop that. Output. Sample, yes. Do I buy inverse of the finished passes? And this should be a function. Output. And the output is this sRGB correction. And this is the actual image buffer. Okay. Texture get pixel. We always get the previous one. Yeah, okay. It's a bit derpy, but hold on, let me think. It goes through each one. Then once it's done a single pass, each tile should be one completed pass. So let me reset this. And go look at this function. So once we run out of tiles, rendering true. So it goes through each thing here. Oh, we forgot to pass in the options. Pass in the options. Which were dash S and dash interactive and dash V. Now we're debugging the same options. That's the thing. And now each tile should have a single pass. Complete samples 1. Let's do like 30. Completed samples 1. Or complete false. Tile num. Yeah, that looks all good. Let's do that again. Let's look at the window. It does them all again. Now we should have 2 passes. Completed samples. Okay, that did not update. What about the first one? Okay. So it's always just 1. Tile completed samples. I swear it was updated though. Whoops. Tile dot completed samples plus plus. Begin, and once we're done doing the tile, we increment the completed samples. We set some thread state crap that we don't care about. Right. Oops. This returns by value, does it not? This returns a copy of the thing. How did this ever work? You know what? I don't think it actually ever worked. Because this just returns the value here, not a reference. Right? Or just, a pointer, the address of it. I guess we could look at the non-interactive thing. How would we debug this? So once we're done here, just go to the end of this guy. Remove the parameter here. Oops. Oh, derp. See what I think that's always been 0, huh? We could, it's gonna take forever, isn't it? Well, I guess it's gonna show it's gonna be 0 everywhere. Wait, hold on. Tile completed samples. Oh, we're using that here though. It has to work. What? How did that ever work? Seriously, huh? Okay. Complete samples. What? How did that ever work? So is this just always... This is gonna do a lot of spam, but again, debug normals. Why? It looks like it just takes the symbol. It doesn't care about the type at all. That's annoying. Tile. Completed samples is I. Tile num. Tile completed samples. New line, please. That is weird. How did that ever work? It does change. How does that change? That makes no sense to me. Yeah, it does change. But how? Now I have to know. Tile completed samples plus plus. Thread state completed samples is tile completed samples. And then thread state completed samples is 0. Okay, that's a kind of a complex way to do that, but okay. It increments this count. Wait. It increments the tile completed samples and then saves it to this variable, thread state completed variable samples. And then here it sets it to 0. But where does it get it from? Where does it set it back to the tile, though? That makes no sense to me. That is just really weird logic. Tile completed samples. Is it set up in here? Tile. Nah. That's just really weird. I'm confusing myself with my own code. That's ridiculous. How did that ever work? I have to know. I still don't fully understand it. I thought I did, but I don't. So you get the tile here, set the tile num. We render, however many samples we want, as long as we're rendering. Then we increment this local copy. Again, this is just a local variable. And then we grab that value back into thread state completed samples. Oh, that is so weird. Basically, we can do this, I think. Tile completed samples, fuck off. Complete samples. Then do this, and that should still work, right? That's basically how it's working, how I intended it to work. I don't think I was thinking that much about how this works back then when I wrote this shit code. But it's good that we found it out now. Okay, that did not work. Whoa. That's funky. It's gonna crash. No. Oh, it goes over the edge. I think it like wraps around. That's pretty cool. It's doing something really a lot. Okay, that's weird. Maybe don't subtract one. I don't understand how this works. How did that ever work? How does that even work? Please tell me how does that work? Thread state completed sample is 0 once we're done doing the whole thing. Basically when we're aborting, or no. We don't want to reset that there, don't we? Like that. That's what I want. I forgot about that. Prime, okay, it still doesn't work. Okay, man, I don't know how that works, but that's not very good logic. Okay, so how would we go about this? Why can't we just not use the pass as the thing? I have to understand how this works before we can move on. Sorry if it takes me a little while. I do not understand this. Oh, we're still initializing the sampler. Oh, okay. This. Oh, right. We basically just use it as a local counter. That makes no sense at all. We gotta remove this variable because that is super confusing. Completed samples. We'll just use a local counter instead of just storing it weirdly in here. So let's see. Thread state completed samples. And then where does that start out as? I think it starts out as 1. Yeah, it starts out as 1. Just set that there for now. That is just the weirdest logic I think I've ever written. Just the fucking most bizarre thing. So once I do this, this should work. Get rid of that. Okay, and then I don't think we want to set this here. Maybe that'll work. Crap, I don't. I'll just ignore this for now. Make that a no op. And there we go. Hopefully that works. There we go. Good. I did not lose. Oh. What? Oh. Completed sampleless. It's a different thing that we want. So for this, we want to use like similar to the interactive mode. So, and completed passes. Just hacking away here right now. Completed passes. We do want to set this to 0. I think that should do it, maybe. Hopefully. How many times have I set that? It did not. Okay. Yeah, this sucks. Passes should be incremented in there. No, we don't want to. Still just doesn't do it. Why not? Doesn't ever get the next tile. Why does it not do that? Tiles, next tile. I'm just messing here. At this point, my brain's kind of melted. Yeah, why does it do that? That doesn't make sense. Hold on. It goes through. Wait. A thread state. Do we even want this here? We do want to use it as the completed passes thing, do we not? Start out here. Yeah. Let me just do this. We'll remove the completed passes and put this back in. Come on. I'm just kind of confused at this point. Kind of, why does it not get to the next thing, though? Never fetches the tile. Just does those. Oh, now it does. Okay. It divides it. Why would that break there? I'm just quickly trying things to see if I can get it working. And there it fails, okay. Whoa. Would it make more sense to refactor so that we actually update the tile state? Because I was kind of just abusing that. That's kind of how I intended it to work. To update the actual, global tile state. So right now when we do this, it will work, but it will just fuck up after the first few tiles. Why? It does render it, it just doesn't give us any color. My bet is because we're dividing by too high a number. Completed samples. Okay, so here, yeah, we set it to 0 and boom, we're back to square one. So for this guy, wait, what? I'm super confused right now. Thread state, completed samples. So we run through all those samples. And then we run through however many 100 samples or so. There's going to be 100. We used this as used the tile thing as a temporary variable. to store it. Which makes me want to bring it back in the form of like a local variable. This is what the programming is really like. You can skip forward at this point if you're like screaming at me. This is how it works. Do this. This is just really crappy code. Let's see how it worked in here. Because we actually have the thing here. So let's just change this. So like temp is 1. Then we're just gonna do temp and kind of copy that then. We'll just see if we can get this working. Temp. Here we're gonna use the temp here. God damn it, this keyboard's annoying. Really annoying. Whenever I hit my escape, which is actually my caps lock key, this old keyboard will start spamming the caps lock key, which is the escape. WSEC temp plus plus. Okay. Like that, maybe that'll work. Maybe. Just maybe. Whoa. Look at that. That's kind of weird, is it not? Oh god. What have I done? Complete samples as temp. How did that ever work? How did it ever work? Ever. And why? Oh, because it gets reset to 0 or 1 actually. Yeah. 0. So this effectively is like temp is equal to 1 here. That's the logic that I had before. Okay, maybe that's working now. Maybe I fixed it. Now we gotta clean it up and understand it better. And yeah, that was super weird logic though. We were using the. I guess I always thought that was modifying the actual tile, but we were just getting ones back, right? Because we never modified it. It was always just a really convoluted way to basically return 1. Damn, that was a fun thing to debug. Not. But yeah, debugging is always kind of fun. Well, I'm glad we sorted that out. I still don't fully understand it. Let me look. So we set this weird temp thing to 1. Use that. Temp plus plus. We set the completed samples to temp. We essentially increment that by using a temp. Why would that make any difference? I guess that will work though. Let's see if this interactive thing works. I'll worry about that later. Hey, it's not averaging right. We were supposed to use temp. We are using temp. Crap. It didn't work. Didn't work. Why does it not work? Maybe we don't set this to 1 here. Maybe that's the difference, actually. Not quite what I was looking for here, but okay. It's sort of doing passes, but it's not averaging correctly. Do I have to rewrite this whole thing to make it better? Let's try to understand the non-interactive thing again. So while we have samples to run, you want to use the current. We want to basically get a local counter of how many samples this thing has had. Right? That's temp. We use that for the averaging. And then we just copy back to the thread state. Reset it. Rinse and repeat. That's essentially, I just copied the logic that we had before with this temp variable. So now we don't mess with the tile thing. Let me read through the code without talking, and I'll try and understand it. Hopefully, we will complete samples. There's also this samples value, which is used for the metrics. This code is really fishy, isn't it? Oh, man. It's been like fairly unchanged for like 2-3 years, and I've always just kind of hacked in whatever I needed without thinking too much about the whole structure, and this is like really kicking me in the ass right now. Trying to understand the logic here. Performance metrics. You have this temp. Right. Why would we copy back? How is this not different from just incrementing it and using it that way? I tested it. I'm 100% sure I tested it. Let's try it one more time. Tile completed sample. Thread completed samples. Thread completed samples. Set this back to 1. Right? How is that not different? Non-interactive mode, please. Now it doesn't work though. There's something about the... It does work. Okay, I think I did something vaguely differently before. That confused me. Is that actually working? Let's do like 10 samples here. Sure enough, it is. Okay, so we don't want to use this one. The thread state completed samples is kind of confusing. I guess we can use it. Okay, so we just set it back to 1. All right. Complete samples plus plus. Get rid of this. Maybe this will work. Maybe. Oops. This should still work. Hopefully. Okay, there you go. And then interactive. The order of the arguments. Ooh, okay. It's still not averaging right, but that's fine, I think. The loop is different here, so we are setting this to 1 every time here. We only want to do it once we've started a new pass entirely. What was the completed passes? Finished passes are state finished passes. What does that do? Okay, that might be on to something. What if we do like 100? Still not sure what the all white right away is all about, but does that actually... Look at that, it actually does work. I don't know why this is all white though. It's doing what we want right now. I don't know what the all white is all about though, yet. Right now that all the tiles update correctly, the tile frames. And it does seem to be actually averaging it out. But why does it show up as all white? So this, maybe we can just use the completed passes again. But we tried that, didn't we? Let's try that one more time. That doesn't make much sense how it does like... I don't understand this. Now it doesn't even update a whole tile? It does, but it doesn't display them correctly. That's suspicious. Literally, the output buffer is not... doesn't have anything to do with tiles. It's just... it's literally just pixels in a buffer. That's all there's to it. That's not needed, I don't think. Yeah, we just care about that. Okay, maybe we do care about that. Complete samples. Tile. Current tile num. I'm not sure. I think the completed samples values actually the completed samples value is actually used for the tile frames actually. I think that's what that's all about. Maybe. I haven't looked at that. I don't really care about the tile frames right now. Ah, man. That is bizarre. What do we do? I don't even remember what we did to break it further. Derp. Okay, yeah, that's not what we want. Yeah, that is what we want, but I don't know why it shows up like that. That doesn't make sense. What about if I save the image? Does it look like that? Yeah, it does. Look at that. How would it do that? It literally just doesn't save the thing into the buffer. Partial tiles. What if we just do one thread here? Dash J, I think it was. Dash J, yeah. Oops. Yeah, the frames are out right now. I don't care about them, but why does it do that? All white. Okay, let's stop that and look at the code. Let's run this in a debugger. Single thread only, please. And look at what is happening in here. It should be all white, this output here. Inf, because T is inf. Oh, finished passes needs to start at 1. Finished passes needs to start at 1. Where is that set up? It needs to start at 1. Otherwise, it's dividing by. Okay. That should have been much easier. Hold on. Okay, so where do we actually get that from? Our state. Vendor state. We can just set it here for now. Magic little thing there. Look at that. Don't care about the tiles, the frames. That doesn't matter. It's doing what we want. Will it actually do how many? Let's do 10. Okay. Should have run the debugger like 30 minutes ago here. Sorry about that, but look at that percentage just going crazy. Ah, that's cool. Does the actual output image look good? Let's compare this. This is gonna be iterative one up. And then let's do non-iterative with the exact same settings. Nothing changed. Should be... Not sure if it's gonna be identical in terms of the noise. I gotta look at that, but... this is the way I compare images. I take the... So this is gonna be iterative 0, so non-iterative. And then move these up here, and then I just have a key to switch. Okay, they're not the same. There's an off by 1 somewhere. So iterative, yes and no, yes and no. Okay, so it's not quite right, but it's very close to almost right. It doesn't do enough passes, I think. In fact, if we do 9 samples, I bet we get to the same. 9. I think it'll have. Hold on. There we go. No, iterative 1. Still not the same. I have to look at that. Let's work on some simple housekeeping first, and then we'll worry about that bug. First of all, let's disable the frames when we're in the iterative mode. So render frame. This is the actual main run loop on the main thread. So while we're drawing, we only want to draw the window if we this interactive, isn't it? That's what we started to work on. I've been going on for quite a long time. I think this is what we're gonna stop. Swear we're gonna stop tonight for this video. But let's do the interactive 10 samples. It's not quite there yet, but we made some progress, and that's good. Except that now it's not working at all. Oh, we definitely do want to draw the window. Except we don't want to draw frames. Yeah, we do want to draw the window. We don't want to draw the frames. Do we have arcs here? Ben, we don't. Just don't update the frames if we... There we go. That might be good enough for tonight. It's getting pretty late and I have work tomorrow. But this is a good starting point here. In terms of, let's do like 100 and let's not do the single thread here. Seems to be working. I need to verify that each tile actually gets all the samples so there's no like misses or anything, but that's just debugging. That might be good for tonight's video actually. I made more progress than I thought I was gonna, but still there's a lot of things to do to get to like a proper interactive mode. The thing that we're gonna do was in the camera module. So for the interactive mode, once we do get it working, what it would do is it would, run this constantly like this to an upper limit. And then whenever you move the camera or do something, it would do like a restart renderer thing and it starts drawing from scratch. But that, given how much trouble I had with that fairly simple logic of, keeping track of the averaging of the colors, maybe we do that another time. I think that's good for tonight. I'll do some cleanup here before I commit this. It is 32 minutes past midnight and I have work tomorrow. So this might actually be my last recording in this apartment. I'm moving. I have to start packing tomorrow. Actually, I have some boxes over there. I'm moving to a new place. I've lived here for 3 years. It's been great. This is a little studio apartment in a good location, but I'm upgrading. So I guess that's it for this video. I have a one jump cut in the middle with a bathroom break, but that's not too bad. Yeah. I think I'll stop talking. If you watched this far, that would be incredible. Over an hour of this crap. Thank you very much for watching. Stick around. I'll do more of these recordings. of me basically just bashing my head against the table with these simple programming mistakes. But I think that's it for tonight. There's a little diff of stuff. We didn't commit yet. I'll clean this up and put it in. Probably tomorrow, though. I gotta go to bed, but we made some progress. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.